there was an efficiency expert who concluded his talk with a group of individuals. And at the end of his lecture, he warns the group. He says, look, I'm telling you, don't try these techniques at home. And some guy in the back, he's like, well, why? And the guy says, well, I once observed how inefficient my wife's routine was when she was preparing breakfast. And I said to my wife, I said, honey, as I said, I watched you prepare breakfast here this morning. You've made multiple trips between the refrigerator, the stove, the sink, and you're only carrying one item at a time when you're making all these trips. There's a more efficient way for you to do this. And the guy kind of finished his little statement, and the fellow in the audience said, "Well, did it work?" And the efficiency expert, he says, well, actually it did, yes. It used to take my wife 20 minutes to fix breakfast. Now it only takes me 7. Yeah. Nobody loves a critic, right? I turned the page in today's study, this week's study in the Disciples Journal. And perhaps like me, you were just as shocked when you looked at the topic and you said to yourself, efficiency. How in the world is efficiency related to our Christian living? I mean, how is efficiency a Christian characteristic? Distinct Christian characteristic. Now, efficiency is something that we all strive for, but how is it distinctly Christian? Well, let's dive in. And in just a moment, we'll dive in. We'll see where this leads. We'll see where the Lord leads this discussion on efficiency. My name is Pastor Greg, and you are watching Transforming the World. Dictionary.com says this: efficiency is the state or quality of being efficient. I hate it when they use the word to define the word, which made me go and look up the word efficient, which really wasn't very efficient, if you get my drift. So I hate it when they do that. So in a demonstration of inefficiency, I went and looked up the word efficient, and it says this: performing or functioning in the best possible manner with the least waste of time and effort. The efficient person is somebody who is able to accomplish a job or a task with a minimum expenditure of time and effort. Actually, I heard somebody once say that if you want a job done in the most efficient way, ask a lazy person to do it. That's not very kind, but it probably makes a good point, right? From a basic Christian understanding, efficiency in our faith is demonstrated by being well organized, competent, and resourceful. According to the Apostle Paul, we live wisely among those who are not believers and make the most of every opportunity. That's Colossians 4:5. That's efficiency from a Christian perspective. From a Christian perspective, we demonstrate efficiency when we study, when we pray, when we grow in our faith, and we do this for a reason. Of course, that reason is to be prepared to give a defense to anyone who asks us for a reason for the hope that is in us. 1 Peter 3:15. We are efficient in our Christian growth so that we can be efficient when an opportunity presents itself. Now, I realize as you look down over the questions in the Disciples Journal here in the self-evaluation section, I realize that most of the questions address our efficiency in our day-to-day living. But I also think we ought to examine our efficiency in Christian living as well. Both Paul and Peter teach that our life as a Christian should have a purpose. And that purpose, of course, is to share Christ's message of peace and hope. And to reach this point in our Christian life, we are going to have to make every effort to mature. We must do our best to find better ways to share the good news of Jesus. Actually, if I were to put a term to all of this, I would call it efficient Christian evangelism. I think this is what the Apostle Paul, the Apostle Peter are trying to teach us in the passages that I referenced. They are looking and calling followers to develop efficient Christian evangelism so that we are prepared, and when an opportunity presents itself, we can efficiently and clearly and succinctly explain the message of hope and the message of peace. Tomorrow I want to take a look at the efficiency of God and how God's efficiency should carry over into our own lives. So that's tomorrow on Transforming the World. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. My name is Pastor Greg.